so we're trying to settle this debate really quick. I want to know. I feel like Bentley looks so much cuter with a bath, and he's disagreeing with me, and I don't know. So drop a 1 down below if you think he looks better with a bath. Drop a 2 down below if you like saying, nope, you take Bentley's side. So either share your side or Bentley's side. And as you jump on, let me know where you're calling him from. If you're watching on the replay, you go ahead and drop down the word replay down below. But let me tell you this. What I'm about to show you is this. It's one hot tip on how you can take your mind from being a death sentence, I said death sentence, to being your favorite flavor of ecstasy. Favorite flavor? That sounds just like juicy as you say, your favorite flavor of ecstasy. You like it? He likes it. He's still mad at me about the bath. But let me tell you this, as you guys are jumping on again, drop down, if you know me, I just want you to say, hey girl, if you know me. If you don't know me, say, nice to meet you. My name is Sherry Hollenbach. And listen closely. Well, I'm about to show you something very, very, very personal and raw from my life experience and trying to figure out this whole Earth School experience. Earth School experience. Who on here is trying to figure out this Earth School experience? Drop down a hashtag me if that's you. And you and me are sisters and brothers on the same path. And here's what I'm going to teach you. So I'm going to teach you one hot tip I know for a fact works, because I don't ever teach anything that I don't know for a fact works, because I learn it and then I use it on my life, and then once I know for a fact it works for me, I got to share it with the world. Anything that ever has given me value, help end some of the internal suffering, and it works, I can't help but I got to tell the whole world. So I'm about to show you one hot tip on how to take your mind from going from a death sentence over to your favorite flavor of ecstasy. And here's one thing I want to go ahead and tell you. Hello, Mr. Chris. Hello, Rose. Hello, Alice. Hello, Robert. Hello, Christy. Okay, here's one thing I want to tell you really close. Haven't you guys ever felt like your mind has been literally a death sentence to you? If you have, just drop down number 2 if you have. Also, in the same sentence, haven't you guys ever felt like your mind has been like your favorite playground, your favorite flavor of ecstasy, like your favorite place to go explore? Drop down a 3 down below if you've seen that. And hopefully everybody on here has experienced 1 and 2. In fact, if you're a human being, Junior, you could drop down a 2 and a 3. So one thing I want to start out with telling you is you need to know 2 things. Number 1 is there's a concept called the outside world. And this might be the most important thing I will ever say in my life, at least for the next 20 minutes. But there's a concept called the outside world, and that's all out there. That's like the places, the things, the people, the car, the home, the money, the job, the raise, the family, the dogs. He's still mad at me. But that's the outside world. And then there is a second world, that's called your inside world, which is going on inside the mind. The mind, the done. Sorry about that. I'm late to Thanksgiving dinner, so I got some phone calls. But anyway, it's the mind up here. So there's the outside world, and then there's your inside world. And let me explain this. Many times, well, let me just ask you this. What do you feel like is more important to you? Like your gut reaction, what's more importantly, your outside world or your inside world? Drop a 1 down below if you feel like it's the outside world. Drop a 2 down below if you feel like it's the inside world. And also, I want you to know, tell me, what do you feel like, maybe you're emotionally developed, but what does the average person in society feel? Do they feel like the outside world's more important or the inside world? And I'll just answer that question for you, so you don't even need to hit the 1 or 2 down there. Is I'll answer the question for you is most of 99% of the world, including Sherry Hollenbach, at some point in their life, if not their whole entire life, feel like they're trying to make the outside world fit their perfect picture. Their outside world is going to make them happy. The problem is the inside world is the only thing that anyone ever cares about. They just don't realize it. See, we're taught as a society that our outside world is going to make us happy, and that's not the truth. It's always our inside world. Let me prove it. Let me prove it to you. Let's say you just finished breaking up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, or you just got a divorce, or something in your life just died, or your dog just ran away. Don't listen, Bentley. And you're in like stage 7 depression, which haven't you guys ever been in stage 7 depression? Drop down the word holler if you have, and I get to say holler as well, because it's, if you're a human being at some point, you've experienced this. Drop down the word holler if you've ever experienced stage 7 depression. But let's say something terrible in your life happened, you're super sad, and I say, you know what, don't you worry, friend. Let's you and I'll take you somewhere in the world to a 7-star, 8-star, a 13-star resort. Just you and me. Let's fly to Fiji, let's go to Europe, let's go to Hawaii, wherever you want to go. I'm going to come and take you, and we're going to eat lots of food and just have fun. How do you feel about that? Your person just died, they just broke up with you, your dog just ran away. How do you feel about that? I'm just saying, how do you feel about that? Drop down the word, uh-oh. Like, I ain't going. Drop down the word, I ain't going if you wouldn't go with me. And let's say, number one is you would not want to go with me. But let's say I do somehow convince, because I could be kind of convincing sometimes. But let's say I do convince you, Miss Alice, Miss Winfred, Mr. Joe, Mr. Todd. Let's say I do convince you to come with me to Europe to go to this 18-star resort. Are you going to be happy there? Are you going to be excited and want to go play? The answer is no. Because your inside world, even though your outside world is marvelous, your inside world is still screwed up, so you're not happy. That's it. See, all we care about is our inside world, but we think the outside world is what we're really caring about, and that's not true. Let me give you another example. Mr. Larry and Mr. Kevin. Second example. Let's say that you're in love. All of a sudden, this girl comes in your life and you're just so in love, or this guy comes in your life, you're Superman, you're hero, and you're just so in love. And what is right in your life? Can you say everything? Like, it doesn't matter what happens to you. Your boss calls you, whenever you're just like in love, your boss calls you up and says, hey, you didn't get the raise, somebody else got promoted. You're like, okay, good job, I'm so happy. Go for them, celebrate. Or let's say, you know, your friend just finished calling you up and just unload a ton of stuff on you. You're like, that's okay, just be happy. Like, can everyone just love? Can anyone relate? Drop down the word #relate if you guys can relate to this. You know, whenever your inside world is good, doesn't matter what's on the outside world. Like, you don't care if you're living in a shoebox when you're in love. Like, it's just all good happiness. Drop down, I relate if you guys can relate to this. Okay, that is validation right now that your inside world is all that you ever care about. The problem is, as a society, we're trained that the outside world is what we really need to worry about. Oh, I got a lot to tell you this. I got to check my notes right here. Oh my gosh, it's so true. That is so true. I'm like shocking myself with my notes right now. Yeah. And that's true too. I got to tell you this. Is we think what we can do is whenever you get the breakup or someone dies or the dog runs away or you lose your job or whatever happens, the earth falls down. We try to temporarily distract ourselves with the outside world. So that's why you jump into a new relationship. That's why you go on that vacation, and that's why you go buy that new toy. That's why you start that new hobby, because we think temporarily we can distract the inside world from the outside with the outside world. The problem is that normally doesn't work, or it does work, but it's only temporarily. So the question is what can you do? Hold on, I gotta tell you this. First I gotta tell you this part. This is a good fact to know too. Have you ever felt those people that you just really like and you connect with? Yes? Drop down yes down below if that is you. You just met those people and you're like, oh my gosh, you're my sister, you're my homie, you're my brother from another mother. I just like you. I don't know what it is, but I just like you. Or on the other hand, have you ever seen those people and you're like, I just don't know what's about them. I just don't like those people. There's just so funny about them. Maybe they just talk too fast. They're just fast-talking city slicker people. Or maybe it's just like the way that they dress. Like, they don't dress nice enough. It's like, there's something shady about them. Have you guys ever done that? Drop down a 3. No. Drop down a guilty. If you were guilty of just judging somebody or a situation based on just a gut feeling. Guilty. I'm dropping on guilty too. See, the thing is, what you like is this. If the outside world comes in, meaning a person, place, situation, whatever the outside. Are you guys following, by the way? Drop down the word follow if you guys are following. Maybe I need to bring it back to Rose, you with me? Perry, you with me? Larry, you with me? Am I doing good, or do I need to fast forward? Am I in kindergarten, high school? Where are we at here? College? Okay, we're in college. Okay. So the outside world comes in. So that person comes in, that event comes in, something comes in. And if it matches, if it makes your inside world feel good, you're like, oh, I like that. I like that person. I like that thing. If the outside world makes your inside world feel good, you say, I like it. But if the outside world makes your inside world feel bad, you say, I don't like it. Anyone guilty? Drop down the word guilty if you are feeling guilty. And let me tell you, this all comes back from the mind. The mind. The mind is the one running the show, not you. The mind is the one running the show. 99.99% of the world is driven by the mind. The thing is, the mind is crazy. And the mind doesn't even know where it's going. And the mind is a dictator. The mind is a bully. And I'll explain that in just a moment. But that is the truth. If you guys are following, hit the heart thing following so I know where I'm at here. But let me give you another example. Let's say you woke up one day and all of a sudden your leg was flopping all over the place. Like it was just randomly kicking out. So you're laying there and just like kick, 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 kick. Okay, would you look at that leg and be like, oh wow, that's interesting. Maybe I need to go join the NFL. Maybe I need to go join the soccer team. Like my legs just kick, kick, kick. Would you do that? Would you do that? No, drop down the word heck. No, I would not do that. Like if my leg was going uncontrollable kicking, I would be hopping myself over to the doctor ASAP or the hospital ASAP and say, doctor, fix my leg. Like something's wrong with my leg. But see, the problem is the mind is doing the same thing. Already while you're sitting here watching me, your mind has gone to 50,000 different things. Your mind has thought about the turkey, the kids, the dog, the bills, the job, the thing you did 52 years ago, that problem that happened 5 minutes ago, that's not even a problem now. I'm just curious. Drop down the word guilty if you're guilty about, since we've been talking, your mind has been 50,000 different places. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. But see, we call that normal. It's just a mind. It's just ADHD. My mind's like that Facebook thing with 50,000 tabs open. I've heard of everything because I've said everything. But the thing is we don't think that the mind is out of control. We just think that's what it is or that's how we are. See, the mind is a very, very dangerous place. And the mind can lead you to your death sentence. And even more so, I wrote down right here, the mind's a dictator. The mind tells you that this has to happen in order for me to be happy. Like this person has to like me, this guy has to like me, I have to get this amount of money, I have to make this amount of money every single month, I have to have this amount in my savings, I have to have this person treat me like this, my family has to behave like A, B, and C, and the mind says, if that doesn't happen, I'm not gonna be happy. In fact, if that doesn't happen, I'm gonna bother you nonstop, like constantly, I'm gonna come back and bother you every single moment if this isn't happening. It's a dictator. It's telling you what is going to happen in order for you to be happy. It's telling you if you don't do it, then you're going to be bothered by it. See, but the crazy thing is once you actually do accomplish that said goal, once you do accomplish that said goal, then all of a sudden it's going to be angry with you about something else, saying, yeah, but you could have done more, you could have done better. Can any of you relate right now? Just write down the word relate if you guys can relate to this. And I have this huge personal story in mind. I remember it was explicitly where I was sitting at whenever I noticed this is I was in this high-rise condo in Vegas, nicest place in Vegas. In fact, my neighbor was, what's his name? Snoop Dogg. My Snoop Dogg was my neighbor, true story. So it was the nicest place in Vegas, my dream place. I had my vacation home, 8-bedroom home down in another city. I had millions of dollars in the bank, something I always wanted. I had my dream car, this car that was in the Batman show when I was a little kid. I had my Batman car. I had everything I had written down on paper what I wanted as a kid. But yet, I was miserable. Like, I remember sitting there. I mean, in my 20s, I had accomplished everything I wanted, but I was in stage 7 depression. I wasn't suicidal, but I was like stage 7 depression. And I'm like, what is so wrong? I felt so unfulfilled, so like not moving forward. It was just a really weird place for me. Because I'm like, on paper, I'm supposed to be happy because my outside world is what I pictured it should be. But yet I was miserable. Anyone relate to that? Have you ever accomplished a goal, but yet you're still miserable? Drop down the word relate. I just need to see who I am. I was miserable in that moment. And I didn't understand why. And that's when I realized that the outside world will never make you happy. It's always the inside world. See, I was trying to make the outside world make me happy. Once I got all that, it didn't make me happy because I had to work on the inside world. See, if the inside world is not happy, nothing ever in your entire life will ever make you happy, period. Because the outside world does not make the inside world happy, yet all of us are trying to make the outside world make our inside world happy. That's why we got to get the girl, the guy, the house, the car, the Bentley. And so that moment in my life was like pivotal. So here we go. I'm going to close with this. The question is, what can you do with it now? Well, you need to wake up. See, the wise person, I believe everybody on here right now, from Skylar to Cody to Saeed to all of you guys, I believe every single one of you guys are wise. Geniuses. I mean, we're hanging out in this live together right now on Thanksgiving. You guys are geniuses. You just need to be, and I'm talking to myself too, is everybody at some point just needs to wake up. And they need to wake up and say, there's something wrong with me. And whenever I say that, it's not you, it's something wrong with the mind. The mind is out of control. The mind's out of control. Because the mind is constantly telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to have this, you need to have that. Like, if you want to talk about bullies, the mind is the biggest bully. The mind is telling you, look at that person, look how they're looking at you. Like, they're judging you right now. Oh my gosh, are you really going to wear that outfit going outside? Like, are you really going to go do that? Do you see your hair turning gray? Like, look Look at that wrinkle in your forehead. Like, the mind is the biggest bully. If we want to talk about bullies, the mind is the biggest bully. The mind is saying, you know what, you're not making enough money, you're not driving the right car, you're not XYZ. Or maybe the mind is saying, you know what, you're dressing up too much. Oh, you're trying too hard. Relate. Is anyone relating right now? I'm just curious if you guys are relating. That's what the mind is doing to you. The mind is being a bully. So one day you need to finally wake up and say, you know what, something is wrong with my mind. And I need to put in this check. Like, I need to work on my mind because something is seriously wrong with my mind at this moment. A great analogy one of my favorite mentors taught me was, he said this. He said, the mind is like a car. The car is the most beautiful thing you can have because it accelerates your experiences, allows you to see so many more things. The problem is if the car is driving down the interstate and is having a driver, it's great. But what happens if there's no driver in the car and the car is just wildly driving down the interstate? Can you drop that hashtag disaster? Because that's what happens if the car's going down the road. It's a beautiful thing, but the car's going down the road with no driver. Like, that's a stage 7 disaster right there. You guys follow me. Drop the word follow if you're following me right now. That's what the mind is doing. The mind is beautiful if it's actually being driven, but if it's not being driven, it's like the car in the interstate with no driver. It's a dangerous place. So the question is, what can you do? Sherry, I've listened this long. Tell me, what can you do? I'm going to tell you this. There's a whole bunch of different tips I've learned through my own experience, and so many more tips I will be learning in this Earth School experience. Drop down the word amen if you're with me on this path. Amen if you're with me on this always leveling up. But what can you do? There's one hot tip, and the hot tip is this. The second you start to catch yourself, start to feel friction. Number 1, recognize it. Like, I don't really like the way that they talk to me. Oh, I don't really like this situation. Oh, I don't really like what just happened. So number 1, just become aware of it. Once you're aware of it, then ask yourself, what do I have to believe in order to feel this way? Like, that person I didn't like the way that they handled that conversation. I didn't like the way they talked to me. I didn't like the thing that they didn't do. Why is this bothering you? What do you have to believe in order to be bothered by this? And I'll just give you the cheat sheet, Miss Stacy, Miss Rose, Mr. Cody. I'll give you the cheat sheet. The cheat sheet is this. Is every human only responds out 2 ways. Either responds out of love or responds out of fear. Fear is not always disguised as like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Fear can be very, very ugly and very aggressive and very naughty. But whether they're scared of it, every single human is only scared of 2 things. The fear of not being enough and not being loved. I would have fought you tooth and nail 5 years ago if you would have told that to me. But it's true. So anytime you start to feel friction, what you have to believe is you're either not enough or you're not loved. Bottom line, you can call it whatever you want, but that's what it is. And so whenever you have that friction come up and you're like, okay, what do I have to believe in order to feel this way? You come to that belief, I'm not enough, I'm not loved. Then ask yourself this is stage number 2. Ask yourself, whenever I actually believe this thought, how does it make me feel? How has believing this thought impacted my life negatively? What has it restricted me in relationships? Believing I'm not enough, believing I'm not loved. What has it restricted me financially? What has it restricted me emotionally, my happiness? By having this type of belief in me, which by the way is embedded in every single human on this planet, by having this belief in me, what has it limited me? How does it make me feel? So step number 1 is just become aware of it, identify what it is, and it is lack of love, lack of believing you're enough. Number 2 is recognize how has it negatively impacted you, believing it moving forward or believing it currently or believing it in the past. Number 3, ask yourself, if I never had this belief, how would it make me feel? If I never felt Cody, Rose, Stacy, if I never felt like I wasn't enough, if I never felt like I wasn't loved, in fact, what happens if I never had that negative emotion ever feel in my life? What would it feel like? This is where you drop it down below. Drop it down below. What would it feel like? Can you hear amen? Hallelujah. I conquer the world. I turn into Superman, Superwoman. Like I would do anything. If I never felt like I was never enough, I never felt like I wasn't loved, I could do anything. Can you drop down the word amen? Hallelujah if you guys feel that way. If you could do anything. If you never had that feeling, I never felt I wasn't enough. I never felt like I wasn't loved. How would that feel? Feel amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's just step number 3. We got 2 more steps. Okay, step number 4. Step number 4 is you're going to say the exact opposite. So instead of saying, the bottom line fear is I'm not enough, I'm not loved, then just say the exact opposite. Number 4. Number 4 is I am loved or I am enough. That's number 4. And then what I want you to go ahead and close with is 5 references of how do you know that's true. How do you know you are enough? How do you know you are loved? And the tricky part with this, or the driving the nail home with the hammer. This is my hammer. This is my nail. How do you know that? Is bring in real life reference points that you have personally experienced in your life. That validates that you are enough. That validates you are loved. What are they? Maybe back in the kindergarten, whenever you got that first role to be the lead role. Maybe back, last week whenever someone held the door for you. You were maybe the fact whenever somebody in your life gave you a compliment, genuine compliment, whether you believe it or not, maybe they gave you a compliment that they recognize something powerful within you. If you say, Sherry, I've never been loved. And here's what I'm going to tell you is, number one, if you're alive, breathing, watching this, you have been loved because somebody loved you enough to give you a heart and a body to even be on this planet. Number one, if you are alive, breathing, somebody loved you enough to put you here. Number two, if you survived past the age of 5, somebody loved you enough to take care of you to get you to that level. Because if you're a little baby, somebody, whether it was your parents or whether it was somebody else, but somebody loved you enough to at least extend your life from age 0 to age 5. And number 3 is I love you. I love you. That's enough. So you have 3 reference points. Number 1, you're alive. Number 2, someone took care of you from 0 to age 5. Number 3, Sherry Hollenbeck right here. And Bentley, we say we love you, so it's double. We love you. He's still mad at me about the bath. But just bring up some real life reference points. And if you're like, I can't really think about it, well, figure out some. Start a little tiny small. But what you got to do right here, if you want to continue suffering, keep suffering. If you're saying, I can't find any reason why I'm not enough, I can't find any reasons why I'm not loved. If you are over the age of 5 and you can't figure out any reasons why you're not enough and not loved, okay, number 1, you're wanting to enjoy suffering. I'm just being 100 with you. Because every single person has references in their life on how you have been enough and how you have been loved. And so, if you're blind to those, it's because you want to continue your suffering. But if you want to be released out of your suffering, then do these steps. Step number 1, you start to get friction. Recognize, number 1, that you have friction. Recognize what the underlying fear is. Not being enough, not being loved. That's number 1. Number 2, recognize the negative impact it's having on you. Recognize it. Number 3, recognize what would it feel like if I never had that feeling, and actually explore what would you be able to do? What would be the joy in your life instantly that you'd receive by not having that emotion, that thought in your life? And number 4, say the exact opposite. I am enough, or I am loved, or both if you'd like. And then once you do that, then hammer it home with number 5 and bring in real life reference stories of not me, but your real life reference points of your life to where you have proven to yourself you have been enough, you have been loved. You do this, watch what it will wholly explode your entire mind. I went from stage 7 depression, and trust me, this isn't for a sob story. I'm doing okay. But I went from stage 7 depression to where every single day I wake up and it's the happiest freaking day of my entire life. Everything makes me happy. You staring at me makes me happy right now. But everything makes me happy. It's not like this fake happiness. I'm legit happy, but it came from intentionally working on this. And what happened was I had to catch it every single time I could. It was a daily reference of just surrendering to the fact of this process. And am I where I'm at? No. I'm going to get 100 times better in a year, 500 times better in 2 years. Who wants to follow me on this? Who wants to go on this journey with me? Say, heck yes, I'm following. Heck yes, I'm going. You guys want to come with me on this? All you got to do. There's 50,000 different tools I can show you. And we're going to be showing you this over the next, 926 years. But all you got to do is just, number 1, recognize it and then follow those 5 steps. They work for me. And there you go. That is my 411. If you guys got value from this, drop down the word value down below. If you got value from this, drop down the word value. And in the meantime, can you do me a favor? Can you have the best day of your life thus far? Can you do that? Oh, we're going to work on our 5 questions together right now. All right, bye, guys.